Hey, some of you listeners might have noticed that we missed an episode. That's the first time in 5 years that Bill and I actually honored our vacation time and didn't put out an episode. Anyways, we're back, and what an episode to come back to. On this next episode today and the one in 2 weeks, part 1 and part 2 of an interview that I did with Maury Blair. Bill Riley and I drove to Paris, Ontario, and spent a couple days with Maury walking around the streets of Paris, Ontario, his hometown, as well as sitting at his kitchen table in Cambridge and talking about all things Maury. If you don't know Maury Blair, he is a Canadian living legend. Maury was a survivor of child abuse, being raised in the 1940s and 50s, and out of his traumatic upbringing came a beautiful testimony of God's grace and a lifetime given to helping others who have been traumatized. Let's go to that episode where Maury and I are sitting at his kitchen table. Maury, we're sitting here in your kitchen, and this is your house where you and Bev have lived in Cambridge for 25 years
Somewhere
or so?
there, yeah.
Yeah. So you're 86 years old. How'd that happen?
I can't believe it myself.
Yeah.
I think 86. There must be a mistake in my mother's figures. I didn't have a birth certificate. She must have made a mistake on the year. But anyway.
Yeah, you got to be much younger than that.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm only probably about 68.
Yeah.
But then I got brothers and sisters that are in there. No, this is it.
Yeah.
86, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Are your brothers and sisters, are they all still around? Or
I got an older sister in Paris, an older brother in Manitoba, another brother right here in Cambridge, two brothers right here in Cambridge. Then two of my brothers died, and then I've got sisters, one in Paris, two sisters here. So
yeah,
we've all been really close. Yeah,
yeah,
been very nice. Yeah, very nice.
One of the things yesterday, you and I were out with Dave Tapley and Bill Riley, our video guy, and,
sure.
And we were wandering around your hometown, Paris, Ontario, and that was a place that you moved away from basically 60 years ago.
Yeah.
And but it was really fascinating to me to be with you as we went to various landmarks in your life.
Yeah.
How does it feel when you go back 60 years later?
Well, yeah, you go back with a total different attitude. When you were there, it was agony, it was disgusting, you were discouraged. But now going back, looking into the rear mirror of life, I go back now, I can walk right into the very place where my stepmother cursed me and beat me, hung at the window, walk over that property, and I'm not hurting, I'm not stressed, and in fact, I have nothing but pity for him. I'm always here.
Yeah.
This is Sharp lived up there.
This is Sharp, yeah.
And you just want to share like nice one. Well, these are there now. We used to crawl in the rock garden. She'd be upset with us. Yeah. Oh, we were terrible neighbors. Oh. And here's the house where I live.
Yeah, walk us around.
Over, right? Yeah. It's a fun place to go.
Sounds like she's got a little dog.
Yes, a little dog. She's here. Hey, you're home. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Right. This is my friends.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
My buddy.
Yeah.
Two shots.
Oh, yeah, no
Don't
problem.
mind it.
Oh, no problem.
Can I get a shot of you holding my own?
I don't look the best right now.
Oh,
But...
I don't either. You want to see two faces that don't? Look. Here's the backyard where I played. These steps weren't here like this. They were just the cement ones like that, eh? And I gotta go down. Guys, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is the old basement entrance. Sometimes I sneak in there and hide in the dark. Yeah, used to be this. Like I would go to that tree, crawl up the tree very carefully, up near the top, and I lots of bushes, and I get in it, and I sit like this, I just hold it, and I wait, and he'd come out eventually, and he's pacing back and forth, looking in the grass, and looking. If he'd ever looked up and seen me, I'm sure he would have taunted me, thrown rocks at me, or he said, "I'm coming up there to shove you off." I'd have panicked. I figured I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Or if you've ever gone up to that bedroom and looked out this window right here and looked out, he'd have seen me up that tree.
Yeah.
Never once did he ever do that. And I thought, look back now, when I went up there one time when I was an adult, I thought, he'd have seen me.
Yeah.
I'd have been dead. He'd have killed me.
Yeah.
But God didn't let him. Oh, I'll just.
So which window is yours?
I'll just take a look at this one here.
On
This one here.
the
This
right?
one on the right. Yep.
Okay.
Looking out, and that tree went right up. And
Yeah.
I was close, and I thought, oh, if he'd ever seen me, I'd have been dead.
Nothing but pity for him. I would think it would be, my mother prayed for him before he died. I think it would be wonderful to go home to heaven, and there he was. I run my mother and hug him. I say, "Oh, I'm glad to see you're here." Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's history,
Yeah.
and God set me free from it. So it's been quite an experience to go back to prayer. I love to walk the streets and think of all the things that happened to me, and I think I wouldn't want to live here now, and yet this was a place where it all started.
Yeah. Everything that got hollowed out of you
Yes.
in those early years,
Yeah.
it's like God filled with His Spirit and His forgiveness.
Yes, he gave me the wasted years.
Yeah.
He gave me back my whole new adventure of life in the Spirit. Yeah, oh.
Yeah.
When I look back, I shake my head in amazement and realize that I was damaged, I was broken, I was violent, I was hopeless. And then God moved into my life and led me along the path gently, slowly. I mean, I could hardly grasp that the eternal God of heaven would even want to waste his time on someone like me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get into it, and you get into a fellowship. Oh, blows your mind.
Yeah.
He's your father. I didn't have a real dad, but I got one now. I got one now. Yep.
You sure do.
Yep.
I noticed too that everywhere we went yesterday, you would we'd bump into people on the street, complete strangers.
Yep.
But you instantly just warmed up to them.
Yep.
And were able to begin a conversation. Sometimes you would say, "Well, yeah, this was my hometown, and
Sure.
you know, I'm a survivor of child abuse, and we're here to you didn't hold anything back
No.
with anybody."
No.
Talk to me about how did that change in your life? Because when you were young and damaged, you wouldn't go up to talk to anybody, would you?
Oh, never. I wouldn't want to take the mask off and let them know that I'd been cursed and hated and not wanted, etc., etc. But now, I can take the mask off because Jesus Christ has changed me. I've had an experience with the living God. I've been renewed, born again, as Jesus said, inside changed, and then that Holy Spirit, the Comforter, comes to live within you, and then He flows through you. And as you walk in fellowship, it's marvelous what it does to your life. Just changes it completely. So now I can talk about the past and all the hurt and pain, and it's not hurt and pain anymore. It's wow. And if God hadn't been here at that time, and this one, I'd have been dead. But He was there. Wow.
Mm.
He came looking for me. That's what staggers me.
Yeah.
The most. He came looking for me and found me, and then salvaged me and gave me back my wasted years. Wow.
Yeah.
It can be overwhelming at times, yeah.
So if an introvert is somebody who prefers their quiet time, prefers to spend time on their own and get focused on whatever they're interested in, an extrovert goes out all the time looking for social interaction, and that's how they get energized.
Yeah.
Introvert, energized by downtime. Extrovert, energized by getting out and mixing with people. What are you?
I'm the extrovert. I'm out there mingling with people. I can't resist. Remember in that Winston Mill in Paris?
and
Yeah.
all those ladies were sitting around.
Yeah.
There might be somebody there that was North family. So I walked over, excuse me, ladies.
Yeah.
And they looked at me like, uh-oh. And I asked if they knew anybody by the name of Gil, and then, no, they did. That's okay, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you look like, well, same age as my sisters, not, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I've done that on occasion. I said, yeah.
You didn't tell them that you look like the same age as my sisters.
Oh, I did, yeah.
Oh.
They're younger than me, of course.
Oh,
But
yeah. Younger sisters.
I was in
Okay.
a McDonald's. Was it McDonald's? No, Tim Hortons. And as I sat there having a cup of coffee, I was in Paris some years ago, and I looked over and I saw these men on the table. I thought, hey, I know some of those guys. So I walked over to the table. I said, excuse me, gentlemen, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but don't I know some of you? My name's Maury Blair. And the one guy said, Maury Blair? Yes, I know you. I said, he was the manager of the mill at Penman's when I worked there. And I said, yeah, I recognize, you were the one I was attracted to, trying to figure, who is that? And then we chatted, I shared, and I said, remember I was wanting to go to the ministry? He said, yeah. I said, well, that's what I'm doing now. Traveling all over the world, I've written a book, and oh, they were listening to me and talking to me.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. It just opens the door to talk.
Yeah.
And that's what Christians are supposed to do, just start a conversation. Open the door. You never know whose life you're going to touch. You never know. No.
Not everybody has the dramatic, horrible story that you did,
No.
but that miracle of new birth,
Yes.
that Christ changes us, that Christ gives us a new life.
Yes.
That's the power of a testimony.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
The new life that Jesus Christ has given you starts to flow from you.
Mhm.
And you go with that flow. It's the comfort of the Holy Spirit who lives within you. And it's marvelous. You open doors that would come across your path. It's amazing. Just to talk, just to share. And then you're not trying to push anything down their throat. You're just trying to share what God's done for you. It's marvelous. Real adventure. It is.
So nowadays, what makes you laugh?
What makes me laugh? Well, I would say over the years, the youth camps I went to, the kids I worked with, some of them are now pastors. And then, of course, I've got 6 granddaughters, 2 great-granddaughters, 2 daughters. They make your whole life. And I'm Papa to them. And I'll pull them up and say, how you doing? I say, hi, Papa, how are you? I said, I'm coming over to bug you. Come on.
Yeah.
So we just have lots of fun. I am so thankful that God has given me a wholesome, wonderful family. And they love the Lord. The girls go to church and the youth groups and that. I think it's marvelous.
Yeah.
To me, it's a miracle. It is. When you look at the background and all that we went through, wow. And to see that change, it's God's change. It really is. It really is.
Do you think the youngest ones, do they know your story?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've shared it with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shared it with them and gone through the book parts with them.
Mhm.
So, yeah, they're aware of it. Yeah, they're well aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, I'd come to your school and share it. They said, no, Papa. They don't want to be embarrassed, of course. We want Papa to embarrass them.
Over the years, you have, like you said, you've traveled around the world speaking in places. There have been times in your life where you were probably going all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Constantly. I was in Thailand twice. I was in Australia twice. England, Germany, Iceland. I mean, marvelous adventures just to share what God has done for me and to see people's response and their love. And some of those trips were just marvelous. Real adventures, yep. I thank God for every one of them. I'm still not stopping yet. I still want to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you have opportunity to speak at conferences about abuse and that
yes.
kind of thing?
I went down. I was invited in America to go down and speak at their National Committee for the Prevention of Child Abuse conferences. And I went down there and spoke and had marvelous response from the people. They wanted the book. And I stayed around, and one lady whose mother was a famous movie star who was very unkind to her, she said, I've got a coffee with you. I said, okay. So we went for coffee. She shared her, like how her mother mistreated her.
Yeah.
And I said, yes. And I identified that Jesus Christ set me free. And he can do the same for you. Put your trust in him. It's not religion, it's relationship. He can change your life.
When did it start slowing down? When you weren't out every weekend, when you weren't going to a lot of schools.
Yeah,
and
well, everything
conferences.
changed when
our society
Mhm.
got nervous about Christianity and didn't want you pushing your religion on them. So all the schools I'd gone to all those years
Mhm.
and giving away books. I can't go back now, of course, because they've got a variety of different people there. So it changed in the sense that I wasn't going as much, and so that's when I got into the radio broadcast and so many other things
Mhm.
that developed the interviews, so that even though I couldn't go to the school, they could still catch my stuff on these programs.
Right.
So that's what we've done this for, and that's what this is all part of.
Yeah.
Kevin,
Yeah.
that's what, to get the message to them, even though you can't walk into their school or go to their church or whatever, they can still get the message.
Yeah.
We make it available, that's all, yeah. And all it is no, I'm not religious. I have a relationship with Jesus that changed my life, and you can have it too.
Yeah.
Yep. It's been wonderful.
Yeah. So, were you, quite busy until you were 60 or 70 or
Yeah,
80?
I was going full tilt till I was, I gotta think, I was going full tilt till I got this COVID and
Okay.
pneumonia,
Yeah.
and I was held up for,
That was just in the last year.
the last year.
Yeah.
But before that, but then again, everything's
Congratulations, you made it through.
I made it through,
Yeah.
yeah, tremendous,
You're back in the land of the living.
fortunate, yeah.
Yeah.
But before that, of course, I couldn't go to the schools, so
Yeah.
that's when we started developing all the radio broadcasts and everything.
Yeah.
So there was other ways you had to find to do what God wants you to do,
Yeah.
and I think that's what really amounts to.
Yeah.
Do you give up? Do you quit and say, well, I guess I just have to retire? No. You
Mhm.
find ways, and it started to develop it.
Yeah.
Now it's developing even more, and I guess interview is vital to it.
Yeah.
And so that we can get the message out. We're not talking about being religious and you can't do this and you can't do that. We're talking about a dynamic, personal relationship with the living Christ
Mhm.
that will give you a whole new purpose for your life
Yeah.
and a reason for living.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it hard to slow down?
It is, because I'm so used to going.
Yeah.
I'm not used to just, and I'm not slowing down too much. I'm okay, but I'm getting meetings. A few meetings are coming up, and I get out every day, and I go over to see my wife. She's in the group, the home there,
Mhm.
and so I get out and I see people. I go get my mail, and where do I go into this? Oh no, here he comes. Because I was kidding him. Yeah. And so I have fun in what I'm doing. The chance to talk to people, and that's important. The
Yeah.
idea is you're just letting people know I'm the same, even though I'm running all over the world like I did, I'm still the same person who's been transformed by the personal relationship through Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And that's our message. It really is. Yeah.
I'm actually the new guy on your board.
Yes, that's
Breakthrough
great. Yeah.
Ministries.
Yeah.
And it's funny being called the young guy at 62.
I know.
But with the board and you, we've been working on these. I would say a good way to describe it is legacy projects.
Yeah.
So Susan Wells, she did a wonderful rewrite of Child of Woe,
Yeah.
your book, and that's now available. Your story is being turned into a graphic novel, which is like an adult comic book,
Yeah.
and that will be available to be distributed in jails and missions
Everywhere,
and
yeah.
schools, anywhere that'll take them
Yeah,
around
sure.
the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this interview is part of our legacy series, right?
That's right.
And so one of the things that I wanted to do in having a conversation with you today was to take us beyond the public ministry based on the testimony and into more of I would say the personal sacred space of how God is at work daily in your life.
Yeah.
And is there anything that that's new and fresh to you that is getting more focused now at this time of life than before?
Yes, I mean, when I was traveling, I was going because I knew what I was going to do. Now I go out, Lord, bless this day, lead me to someone who might need to hear your message. And I go with a whole different attitude in that I'm not going to fulfill a mission, I'm going to touch people's lives. I want them
to talk to me, and I can talk to them, and I want them to see the difference in my life is that I have a love and appreciation for the living God, and I just want to share that. And I'm not preaching at you, but I want it to come through my life.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit, the Comforter, wants to work through our lives and attract them.
Yeah.
And you may get a chance to witness to them. You may never see them again, but someone else may do that follow-up. It's amazing how people follow that up.
Yeah.
So that's my mission now. It's more like I'm going out just to be a friend, be kind, be gracious, and to look for opportunities just to share His love. That's what it's about now.
Well, just in the short time we spent in Paris yesterday, following you around, there was easily 8 to 10 different strangers
Yes.
that you encountered,
Yes.
and just you initiated.
Yeah. I'm not trying to push something down their throat.
No.
I just want to open up the conversation and talk to them.
Yeah. And you do so well. You're just so genuine and warm.
And if I don't bring up the subject, no problem.
Yeah.
I want them to know that I'm a real person who loves God because of what He's done for me. You know.
Yeah. You still have good eyes to spot an open door.
I do. I take advantage of it. Yeah, I do.
That's right.
I take a chance every time. Every place I go, I have an alertness that I want to make sure if there's anybody here that I could talk to or encourage, I will. And Christians should be encouraging others.
Yeah.
To know the Lord, not shoving it down their throat, not pushing them to go to church, but just a personal relationship for them to know God. Oh, it's marvelous, marvelous experience. It is.
Yeah, and not everybody is extroverted like you, and is able and comfortable to do that.
That's right.
So I remember growing up, there was a lady in my parents' church. It was kind of a quiet lady and didn't push herself into the crowd at all.
No.
But she would sit at home and write personal notes to people.
Good.
Write a card to somebody.
Sure.
And many times I remember my mother getting a note or a card from that lady. And it was just what my mother needed at that time. You know, that word of encouragement.
Yeah.
Or that word of affirmation.
Yep.
And so you don't have to be an extrovert to be busy
you can just
loving people.
Opportunities like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and I found my American family, so I'm in touch with them all the time. So
Yeah.
it's just been marvelous. Really, it has been. Yeah, it's been great.
In the last few months, the love of your life, Bev.
Yes.
What year did you get married?
1969.
1969. And in this past year, Bev moved out of the house here, and she's now in a rest home or long-term care.
Because she fell and damaged her leg, and she can't walk.
She can't walk now.
No.
Can we talk about that adjustment in your life? Because it's one thing to have somebody that you're always sharing the house with, and now the house is empty. It's just you.
It's very difficult. And I didn't know how I was going to do it, because I remember when she walked, they took her down, put her in the ambulance, and took her, and then I started thinking, she won't be here anymore. I'll be coming home to an empty house. What am I going to do with that? And I had to really pray about that. And God took all the anxiety and concern for that slowly out of my life. Now I come home and I realize I've got an opportunity here to seek His face. I get early in the morning and so on, and I can, which I love to do anyway. And so I've adjusted to it. She's adjusted to it. And so what I do is I just go over and see her every day. I'll go after this. I'll head right over and see her and spend time with her and get her anything she wants me to shop for her, to pick her up. And we talk and we laugh and we go down into the mix with all the people. It's a marvelous opportunity.
Yeah.
I've given my books away there too, and so it's been a real good experience. And so we've got adjusted to that, and she's coming along fine. Unless there's a miracle, she'll never walk again. So she's there permanently. So what I'll eventually do is sell the house, get an apartment nearby there where I can just spend as much time with her as I can and still keep the ministry going.
Yeah. Do you find that you struggle at all with loneliness?
With what?
Loneliness?
I used to.
Yeah.
I used to when she was first gone. but I've adjusted now, and I go meet my brother and my sister for
Mhm.
coffee
Yeah.
once a week.
Yeah.
And other friends are there, so I keep my contact up with the family,
Yeah.
and I have coffee with friends. Yeah, so I keep the outside thing still going because I realize that if you don't, you become sitting around twiddling your thumb doing nothing, and I don't want to do
Yeah. You don't want to sit in the waiting room.
No,
Yeah.
no. I want to be busy. Yep.
Yeah. So you in your book you've had well over 1 million copies, and you give those away.
Yes.
You're not a bestseller.
No.
You're a best giver.
We just get them. Yep.
Yeah.
I just made the commitment. I wanted to do. If I'm going to do that book, it's going to be to touch people's lives and encourage them. And a lot of the people I want to touch wouldn't have any money anyway. How can they afford it? And I'm not putting a price on it, so I just gave them away.
Right.
Never made any money at all. I'm glad. I feel good about that.
Yeah. You in your book and in your testimony, you talk about though you lacked good earthly fathers,
Yes.
God gave you spiritual fathers.
Yes.
Jack Ozark.
Yes.
Tell me about Jack.
Pastor Jack was there when we first went to the church after I read that book I was telling you about, and then I said to my brothers and to my mother, we should go to church. And they said, where would we go? I said, what about the Pentecostal church right down the street? Are you kidding? They remember us. I said, yeah, but
You were Sunday school kids.
yeah,
there, right?
kids, yeah.
Yeah.
But up on the hill where, and then now it's on the street. So I talked him into going, taking a chance and going one Sunday morning. So down the street we went, up into the building, and Jack Ozark came out of his office before the service. He said, oh, hi, who are you? And I said, I'm Maury Blair. And he shook my hand, and this is my family. And he said, oh, nice to have you. I said, oh, well, thanks for, I'm very surprised. I couldn't imagine I wanted to have us.
Wow.
Anyway, so we went in the service, and then the next Sunday I went back, and he told me about this class upstairs, and I had to think about that. But then I finally went up to this class every Sunday
Youth
morning.
class or
Youth class, yeah. And I
Yeah.
went and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought, he's so made us welcome in his church. I could hardly believe it. And then when I go to the next Sunday, and I look over and see this piano organist playing, and I look at her and think, I know her. She was one of my teachers. And I thought, and she's crying all the way through the service. So I went over after the service. I got to go see her. I said, excuse me, Miss Matthew, but I said, I know you won't remember me, but I remember. She said, oh, I remember you, Maury Blair. She said, I thought, oh, you do? She said, yes. I've been praying for you since you were a little child. I said, really? She said, yep. I said, well, you were crying. Are you okay? She said, oh, that was for you. I said, what? She said, I looked over and saw you sitting there and thought, I'd heard about your family coming, that you were the first one to give your life to Christ. And she said, I just couldn't help but cry. God answered my prayer. And I said, oh, I can't thank you enough. Oh, I was thrilled.
Yeah.
And we became so close, real good friends at that time. So prayer for people to be touched by God through our lives, that's what it's all about. We're just a short trip through here, right? Boy, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
To be witnesses for Jesus. Yep. So I had some wonderful experiences there in that church, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Pastor Jack was great. John Richardson was there. He worked at the Wincy Mill where we were down the other day. He became a real good friend. Oh, he was kind.
So was he the foreman?
Foreman of the place that I was
mill.
working there. Yeah, so he was really great. Then there was other men like Frank Phillips and Jimmy Stewart and there were just so many. These men that welcomed us. I thought, I couldn't believe that they actually cared and wanted us in the fellowship, and they did.
Yeah.
They did. That really impressed me because I had never had a dad.
Yeah.
Now I've got on the phone, but now I got all these supporting men who are, come on, be part of us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are there any things that you remember when you come
I
here?
remember being so welcomed by Jack Ozard. Then he told me about this class he had upstairs on Sunday mornings. That if I'd like to come, I could come, and I thought about it. And then I went up the first time. It was all about the things of life and knowing Jesus and walking with him. So I kept going back and back and back. Then as I grew in the church, wonderful people like John Richardson, Frank Phillips, Jack Ozard, they welcomed me. I was shocked. No men had ever welcomed me for anything. They were welcoming me to the church. Glad I'm there. Good to see me every Sunday. And I even let me take up the offering. I
Yeah.
knew I wouldn't steal it. And and one Sunday there, I was there. The second Sunday I was there, I looked over and here's a lady playing the organ, and she's crying, playing the organ, tears. I thought, wow. And I thought, hey, she's one of my old teachers, Miss Matthew. So after the service was over,
From public school.
from public school, I
Yeah.
went over to her. I said, Miss Matthew, I know you won't remember me. She said, remember you, Maury Blair? I remember you. She said, I've been praying for you since you were a little child. I said, what? She said, yes, I've been praying for you since you were a little child. And then I said to her, she said, I knew what you were going through in your home. And I prayed and asked God, and I said, when I heard about your family coming yesterday, last Sunday, I said, is Maury there? They said, he was the first one to get saved. She said, and I looked over and saw you after all these years. And I said, the tears, what are they for? She said, that's thanking God that he brought you into the kingdom of God and made you a Christian. And I gave her a hug and said, oh, Miss Matthew, I can't believe it. She said, that's what the Lord does. Wasn't that wonderful? Oh, I'm thrilled, just thrilled. So that was one of the highlights of the church. And then the wonderful fellowship we had, the fun we had. Oh, and Jack was such a good pastor with the young people, you know. We went to Brayside Camp. Yep, had lots of fun.
Not every church would be that accepting.
No.
You know, even today there are churches where if somebody scruffy comes in, somebody better call the pastor.
And see,
Yeah.
these people would all know our family.
Yeah.
And say, oh, what are they doing here? That's what many
Yeah.
of them were saying. What are they doing here? They said, they got saved. They said, what?
Yeah.
And there, they couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
But God had moved into our home, touched my life, spread through the family, my mom back to the Lord, and marvelous. He gave us back the wasted years. Oh,
Yeah.
marvelous, eh? The grace of God, yeah. You can't
So
get over
what
it.
do you think? What do you think people are missing, who are standoffish and super cautious about people that are in the margins?
Yeah, well, like I think they have to throw all those things aside and look at Jesus. Take up the cross and follow Jesus. Well, Jesus went to the scruffs and the nobodies and the scribes and the Pharisees, touched their lives.
Yeah.
Women who were committing adultery, he was right there to touch them where they were at.
Yeah.
And that's what we're supposed to be. It doesn't mean we got to take them home with us. Doesn't mean we
Yeah.
have to pay their bills, but it means we got to touch them and make our hearts open to them and see God do a work in their lives. And he will. He's faithful. Oh, it's marvelous what God does. Like when you think about life with no God, it's when you think of an encounter with Jesus, and it's not religion, it's relationship with a living Christ that leads you on and forward and closer to the Father. Oh,
Yeah.
it's a marvelous adventure. I've never gotten over my marvelous adventure.
It was wonderful, yes. It was really wonderful the way they treated me and welcomed me in the church. Yep, it really was.
Do you think that every church and every churchgoer understands that power?
I don't know if they do now. Still, there's a lot of churches, bang, bang, bang. And there needs to be a softness and a tenderness toward the needs of people. And I think that maybe a lot of times that's missed. They go in and have a service and they go.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't see them again for a week. And church, the building isn't the key. The relationship's the key.
Yeah.
And that's what they need, is a relationship. And welcome them, make them feel warm and welcome, because that's what God's doing.
Yeah.
Makes us feel warm and welcome, you know?
For some reason, God loaded you up with daughters, granddaughters, and great-granddaughters. No
Yeah.
grandsons or sons.
No grandsons. My wife, 2 daughters, 6 granddaughters, and 2 great-granddaughters. Women everywhere.
Yeah.
I gotta just stand at attention and wait for my next order. No. but it's just, it's amazing. And what a blessing they've been.
Mm.
Oh, I can't tell you how much and how special each one of them are. It's marvelous. So Bev and I are both thrilled to have those precious girls. And they're so much fun. Oh, I tease them. Oh, I love it. I think it's great.
So before you had kids of your own,
Yeah.
was God already developing you as a spiritual father, or did that kind of come later?
Well, that I think came when I was doing camps and all this kind of stuff. I drew close relationship with a lot of the kids. I still am in touch with many of them.
Yeah.
And they're adults, they're married, they got families. And but it just made me want to reach out and be their friend. And at camps, we'd have fun with them, water fights, and but that brought me down to their level where we could have a lot of fun
and still serve God.
Yeah.
And that was the purpose of it. Yeah. So I think a lot of that developed in my life, and then of course once I got married and had my own kids,
Yeah.
I used to drive them to school.
Mm-hmm.
They went to Queensway Christian School,
Mm-hmm.
and I said to them, "See the line of cars here?" And I said, "They stop. I'm getting out. I'm turning my radio up, and I'm going to do a little dance." And they said, "You would?" I said, "You watch." And I pull up behind it. I get out, turn the radio up, and I get to go. And the people are all honking their horns and waving at me and loving it. And the kids are going, "Oh, no." So I used to do a lot of things that were crazy,
Yeah.
but they had fun doing them. Yeah, we had
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
you're not really a father if you don't embarrass your kids.
Oh
right?
no, you've got to do that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you've got to have one comes. Oh no, here he comes. We've had a lot of fun. We sure
Yeah.
have. Yeah. Been
When you
wonderful.
think about over the years, you've been able to be a spiritual father to
Sure.
to many. Are there any that are especially your sons?
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that?
Like there was a teen challenge when I was drifting teen challenge. Gary Reynolds, he's dead now. He passed on, gone with the Lord, but he was a real special guy.
Yeah.
Sid Benson, who's a pastor today,
Yeah.
special. There were so many of them that you felt like a kinship, a closeness to.
Yeah.
And whenever I run into them anywhere, say, "Hey," and I was sitting on a cruise
Yeah.
with Bev, and we sat down, and all of a sudden I turned, and looked, one of them was sitting right there beside us, and he looked over and said, "Maury, what are you doing here?" I said, "What are you doing here?" So we fellowshipped and talked, and
Yeah.
him and his family, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
It doesn't change when you have an investment in their lives. You know, it really is
No.
good.
What would you? What are your thoughts about death and dying? And my dad's the same age, so I ask him the
Yeah.
same kind of question.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of people in the world don't want to talk about
Nope.
death. You know, they don't want to
that's right.
think about it.
No,
But I don't think you're afraid of it.
no, I'm not afraid of it because the hope that we have in Jesus Christ is
Yeah.
life eternal.
Yeah.
Eternal. So I'm not wanting to just jump off the boat and die.
Yeah.
I want to keep going, touching, encouraging, blessing people as much as I can before my time comes. And I figure that time is in God's hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go till I got nothing left to go. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And I think you're in a race, you're running the road, and you keep going till it's over.
Yeah.
And you keep caring, you keep loving. You may not be able to go at the same speed, but you keep caring,
Yeah.
keep loving, and you keep reaching out to people. I think that's the key.
Yeah.
You never quit.
Yeah.
You can't quit, you can only die.
Do you
I
think?
mean, you may retire from your job,
Yeah.
but you don't retire from God and His service. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think about sort of the mortal aspects of your own dying?
Yeah.
You know, or Bev, or your
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
Like, how often do you think about
I
that?
think of that, and I think that I'm secure in my heart that they belong to the Lord.
Yeah.
He has the right to take them whenever He chooses.
Yeah.
And I'm trusting Him. I praise Him every day, ask the Lord to watch over them, and always with a thought in mind, if He decides to change it, that's His business,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still going to follow Him.
Mhm.
And so you see them as much as you can, you encourage them as much as you can, and trust God to take care of them and give them a fruitful life as they grow in Him and walk
Mhm.
with Him. So that's all you can do. I really think
Yeah.
that's all you can do. And trust the Lord and just keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, and none of us know our own day or hour usually.
Exactly.
But the Lord might have you around here for another 30 years. Who
Oh,
knows?
yes. As
You'd
long
be
as I'm
okay
busy.
with that?
As long as I'm
As long
busy.
as you're busy. You've also, in your capacity as a minister, a pastor, evangelist, whatever label we can stick on
Sure,
you,
sure.
it's still God at work in you.
Yes, that's right.
What about funerals? Have you conducted some funerals?
Yes, I've done some funerals.
Yeah.
And I've always felt sad when they weren't sure what,
Yeah.
you go in and you're as kind as ever. You're concerned about the parents, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And but you do the funeral service, and then you hang around after and talk to them and encourage them. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
And we don't have control over life and death. We have to just make our way through it. So I think it's important to be available. I've done funerals, and to be available, and to love the parents and love those who have lost their loved ones.
Yeah.
And it's very hard. It's very hard. Yeah.
You've probably been to a lot of funerals just where someone else is
Oh
doing
yeah.
it as
Someone
well.
else. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any, when you think about all the funerals you ever been to, is there one or two that stand out as the best funeral you ever were at?
I'd have to think about that one for a minute. I've been to so many, and I'm just trying to think.
Or what about the worst funeral?
The worst
The
funeral?
one that just
Well, I think
really shook you?
I think when my stepfather died, it was very, very sad
Yeah.
because Mom prayed for him, but you don't know anything, eh? So you're always there, and you're thinking he's gone.
Yeah.
He's out of my life, and I'm not mad at him. I feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
That's sad. So,
What do you remember about that funeral? That would have been,
many years ago, yeah.
would have been 60 years
Oh,
ago?
at least, yeah. So I guess I just remember going and being concerned about all the family that was going to miss him, and yet my mother was going to be okay. We're all going to be supportive. So I just felt sad that he'd wasted so many of his years
Yeah.
with drinking and so on. But there's nothing you can do. You have to accept that fact and move on. And you can't just hold with it. You got to move on. You have to.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but you have to. Yeah. Then there was guys at Teen Challenge that I was at some of their funerals. It was very, very sad. They didn't listen to their parents. They wouldn't take any construction, and so you had to just be there, care for the parents, and the parents appreciated our sympathy and care,
Yeah.
and that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Not much more you can do. No,
Yeah.
it's the loss. It's hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's hard.
Do you remember Jack Ozart's
Oh.
funeral?
Yes.
That was a long one.
that was a long one.
That's
was
the
it?
problem if you got too many preachers
I
getting up to
know.
say something.
Yeah, I know. That's the truth.
Were you one of the preachers
No,
that
I don't
got
think I said it. I don't think
Okay,
I did.
I wasn't
Anyway,
either.
but Jack, yeah, it was.
That was a very
and,
long one.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
because he really touched so many lives.
Yeah.
And he always had an open heart and caring. Oh,
Yeah.
tremendous. With a bunch of turkeys from down the street. I mean, oh, he welcomed us in. Made all that difference. It really did.
Yeah.
So that relationship was beautiful.
What do you want at your funeral?
My funeral? Just that, hey, Papa was here, he's gone. Bless him, Lord, and watch over him and save him for us.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet, oh yeah, short and
Yeah.
sweet. Oh yeah, don't make it difficult for him, yeah. Or if they want to cremate me, just throw my ashes out over Paris and just let me go.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you want your legacy to be when people for the next 100 years look back and,
Yeah.
and remember Maury Blair?
Mhm.
What's your hope?
My hope is that they'll feel like he had a hopeless childhood, those teenage years were just drift. Yet he had an encounter with Christ that changed the whole direction of his life. And he stuck with that to the very end. His love for God and his love for people, it just stood out in everything he did. And that's what I want them to remember, that there's a love that God gives, the peace of God that passes all understandings, keeps your heart and mind. And I think that's what they have to, that's what I want them to remember me. He put his trust in the Lord. It was an experience, not a religion, experience. And you had that experience all the way through.
Mhm.
And the love of God poured over his heart all the way there.
Yeah.
Marvelous. Yeah, marvelous.
Well, we've got more content that we couldn't fit into one episode. So on our next episode, we'll continue our conversation with Maury Blair. As always, I'm your host, Kevin Rogers, and you're listening to Sidewalk Skyline Podcast.